Welcome back to my class. In this video, I'll be explaining about enthalpy change of a reaction, that is reaction enthalpy, and what are the different types of enthalpies. Enthalpy of a reaction. So first we'll learn what is meant by enthalpy of a reaction. Enthalpy of a reaction is defined as the enthalpy change accompanying the chemical reaction when the molar quantities of the reactants and products are the same as indicated in the chemical equation. So here you can see a reaction where the reactant is getting converted to products. The enthalpy of the reactant is represented as HR here, and the enthalpy of a product is written as HP. So the enthalpy change, that is delta H, is equal to the enthalpies of products minus enthalpy of reactants. For exothermic reaction, energy is given out. What is an exothermic reaction? During a reaction, if energy is liberated or evolved, that type of reactions are called exothermic reaction. So in an exothermic reaction, the energy of the products will be less. So here, for an exothermic reaction, the enthalpy of products is less than the enthalpy of reactants, and that's the reason why energy is given out. So in that case, delta H value will come out to be negative. So if delta H is negative, means it is an exothermic reaction. Next is an endothermic reaction. In endothermic reaction, what is the meaning of endothermic reaction? Heat is absorbed during a reaction. So when heat is absorbed means the energy of the products or the enthalpy of the products would be greater than the enthalpy of reactants. So here for an endothermic reaction, H of P is greater than, here there is a mistake here. H of P, enthalpy of products, is greater than enthalpy of reactants. There is a mistake here. You have to correct it when you are writing in your notebook. In that case, when the product's enthalpy is greater, means automatically delta H value would come out to be positive. So when you find delta H positive for a reaction, means that is an endothermic reaction. When the value comes out to be negative, means it is an exothermic reaction. Hope it is clear to you. Enthalpy change or enthalpy of a reaction, that is, it is enthalpy of products minus enthalpy of reactants. Enthalpy change for a reaction when all the participating substances are in their standard state is called the standard enthalpy of reactions. And what is the meaning of standard enthalpy of a reaction? The reaction enthalpy, that is delta H, depends on the conditions at which the reaction is carried out. So as the temperature changes, the enthalpy change also will change. So for different, if you want to compare two reactions, we have to fix the temperature and pressure. Only then we can do the comparisons. So for the sake of comparison, it is more appropriate to express the values of delta H for different reactions in their standard state conditions. Now, what is the meaning of a standard state conditions as written here? The standard state of a substance at a specified temperature is its pure form at 1 bar pressure. For example, standard state of ethanol at 298 Kelvin is pure liquid ethanol at 1 bar. Standard state of iron at 500 Kelvin is solid pure iron at 1 bar. The thermodynamic data is generally taken at 298 Kelvin. So according to the IUPAC recommendation, the enthalpy change of a reaction when all the participating substances, that is the reactants and products, are in their standard state is called the standard enthalpy of the reaction. And standard enthalpy is usually represented by delta H naught. Okay, the superscript naught represents the standard state. So this is very important. So all the reactions, all the enthalpy changes you can find in your textbook is in the standard condition. Why? Because of easy comparison, because you can compare two reactions easily only if the temperature and pressure is kept constant. So next, the enthalpy of a reaction is the enthalpy change during phase transitions. We know it is a common observation that energy is required to convert a solid into liquid or a liquid into gas. The conversion of solid into liquid is called melting or fusion, and the process of conversion of liquid into gas is termed as vaporization. These processes are collectively called as phase transformations or phase changes. So, we are going to study about some phase and enthalpy change during some phase transition. And one thing is very important, the magnitude of enthalpy change accompanying the phase transition depends on the strength of the intermolecular forces in the substance undergoing the phase transition. That is, take the enthalpy of melting or enthalpy of fusion of two substances. If you are taking iron and any other metal, the magnitude of these will indicate that the bond enthalpy, the strength of the bond is greater. So, greater the strength of the bond, greater will be the value of enthalpy of fusion. Lesser the bond strength, lesser will be the value of the enthalpy change of that state, whether it is solid into liquid or liquid into gas. So the first one is enthalpy of fusion. The change in enthalpy produced when 1 mole of a solid changes to its liquid at its melting point. That is called the enthalpy of fusion. So here look at the definition given here. The definition, in this definition, in always while dealing with the enthalpy, types of enthalpy reaction, the amount is fixed here. It is 1 mole, because as the mass changes, the enthalpy of a reaction also changes. So we have to fix the mole for comparing. So enthalpy is also called the molar enthalpy of fusion. So it is called enthalpy of fusion. If it is in the standard state, it is called the standard enthalpy of fusion. It is also called the molar, M-O-L-A-R, molar enthalpy of fusion. So it is the enthalpy change accompanying the melting of 1 mole of a solid substance in standard state at its melting point. For example, if you are taking 1 mole of ice, when 1 mole of ice changes into water at its melting point 273 Kelvin, it is found that 6 kilojoules of heat is absorbed. That is H2O solid getting converted to H2O liquid. There H2O solid is 1 mole and H2O liquid is also 1 mole. The enthalpy change is +6. And plus means what? It is endothermic, that is the heat is absorbed. And the value of this enthalpy gives an idea, as I told you earlier, about the magnitude of interparticle forces in solids. If ionic solids have very strong interparticle forces, so they will have high values of enthalpy, while the molecular solids have weak interparticle forces, and hence their enthalpy of fusion will be low. Next is enthalpy of vaporization. The change in enthalpy produced similar to enthalpy of fusion. Here it is H2O liquid. You can take example as water. H2O liquid 1 mole. The coefficient will be 1, getting converted to H2O gas. And its enthalpy of vaporization is its energy required to convert 1 mole of liquid into vapor. If it is water, its value is 40.6 kilojoules per mole. So the delta H value depends upon the liquid taken. So here it is written the change in enthalpy produced when 1 mole of a liquid changes to its vapor at the boiling point, or it is the enthalpy change accompanying the conversion of 1 mole of liquid in standard state into its vapor at its boiling point, because the conversion of liquid into vapor takes place at its boiling point and 1 bar pressure. Next is enthalpy of sublimation. What is sublimation? The process of sublimation you have learnt in your lower classes. The conversion of a solid directly into vapor without changing into the liquid state. So that is called enthalpy of sublimation. And what the enthalpy of sublimation is the enthalpy change accompanying the sublimation of, here also the amount is fixed. It is for 1 mole, the values will be given, of 1 mole of a solid substance into its gaseous state at a constant temperature below its melting point at the standard pressure. So here the change in enthalpy produced when 1 mole of a solid changes to its vapor at the sublimation temperature, that is below its melting point. You can take an example of carbon dioxide solid, 1 mole. Okay, the coefficient has to be 1 there. So CO2 in the solid state getting converted to CO2 in the gaseous state. So that enthalpy change, delta H, is called the enthalpy of sublimation. Next is the standard enthalpy of formation. So all these are for 1 mole. The definition will always be for 1 mole. So it is very important to understand that, because there are problems based on it. While doing the problems, you have to understand the concept. The value given is for 1 mole. So the standard molar enthalpy, that is standard enthalpy for formation, is also called the molar enthalpy of formation. So standard molar enthalpy of formation of a compound is defined as the enthalpy change accompanying the formation of 1 mole of a compound from its constituent elements. For example, carbon C plus O2 gives CO2. Thereafter balancing, the coefficient of CO2 is 1. So that is an equation for the formation of 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So that is the value of delta H formation of carbon dioxide. So here water is given, a beaker full of water is there. And how is this formed? Actually, water is formed from its constituent elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So you can write the equation here, H2 plus half O2 gives H2, because all the enthalpies are for 1 mole. So here the coefficient H2O has to be kept 1. And H2 and O2 are in the gaseous state and H2O is in the liquid state. So as I discussed earlier, enthalpy change. What is enthalpy of formation, or molar enthalpy of formation, or standard enthalpy of formation? It is enthalpy change when 1 mole of a compound is formed from its elements under the standard conditions, that's 298 Kelvin, and 1 bar pressure, is called the standard enthalpy of formation. So there are a lot of applications of the enthalpy of formations, and the one that is given here is the Hess's law of constant heat summation. So what is this Hess's law of constant heat summation? On the basis of numerous thermochemical observations, the Russian scientist Henry Hess gave one of the most important generalization of thermochemistry in 1840, which is called the Hess's law. This generalization is primarily based on the fact that enthalpy is path independent thermodynamic function, which I have discussed earlier. That is, the enthalpy change in a chemical reaction is same whether it occurs in one step or more than one step. So it will be clear when I take an example. So the standard enthalpy of a reaction is the sum of the algebraic sum of the standard enthalpies of the intermediate reactions into which the overall reaction may be divided at the same temperature. This is the statement of Hess's law. That is, if a reaction can be divided into many steps, then the net equation would be equal to the sum of the enthalpies of the intermediate reactions. So let us take an example to explain this. So here the question here is, how can I calculate the enthalpy change of this reaction? What is a reaction? It is consider the formation of carbon dioxide in 2 different methods. Carbon dioxide, as I told you earlier, can be prepared by 2 different methods. In the first one, the first is a general reaction. C plus O2 gives CO2. That is a general reaction which we all know. Let us consider the delta H of this. That is the enthalpy change. What is enthalpy change? The enthalpy of products, that is carbon dioxide, minus the sum of the enthalpies of the reactants. That is sum of enthalpy of carbon plus the sum of the enthalpy of oxygen. So this difference is called the delta H, and let it be X kilojoules per mole. Now second, this first equation can also be prepared. Carbon dioxide can also be prepared by 2 ways. The first step is C plus half O2 gives CO. carbon monoxide. You can prepare first carbon monoxide, and then carbon monoxide plus half O2, you can get carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide can be either prepared by treating carbon and oxygen directly, or this can be prepared by two ways. That is, first by making carbon monoxide, and then carbon monoxide is treated with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. So these two steps is delta H for preparation of carbon monoxide, let it be Y kilojoules per mole, and the last second step, let it be Z kilojoules per mole. So according to Hess's law, what is the Hess's law? That is, if a reaction can be prepared by two or more than two different steps, if there are two or more than two different intermediate steps, or if a particular reaction can be divided into different steps, then the enthalpy of the major reaction, general reaction, would be equal to the sum of the enthalpies of the intermediate reaction. So here X would be equal to the enthalpy of formation of carbon monoxide, that is Y, plus the enthalpy of formation of carbon dioxide from carbon monoxide. So X would be equal to Y plus Z. So as the definition of Hess's law I had given earlier, here it is written in another way. Hess's law states that the enthalpy change for a reaction is same whether the process takes place in a single step or in a several step. Both the definitions are same. You can use any one definition for writing. Application of Hess's law. The first and the major application of Hess's law is determination of lattice enthalpy. So what is lattice enthalpy, which is coming in this video, but let me explain that. It is the enthalpy change taking place when 1 mole of ionic compound dissociates into gaseous ions of opposite charges at standard conditions. For example, NaCl is dissociating into Na plus and Cl minus. And the enthalpy change taking place is called the lattice enthalpy. And it is very difficult to calculate the lattice enthalpies of ionic solids. So it is for that reason that we are learning the first application of Hess's law, which is very important, determination of lattice enthalpy of ionic solids. So the definition, reading it once again, lattice energy is the amount of energy when 1 mole of crystal lattice is formed. That is, when Na plus and Cl minus is combining to form 1 mole of NaCl. That energy is called lattice energy, or the reverse process, that is enthalpy change when 1 mole of ionic solid is dissociating into its ionic state. That is, when NaCl is dissociating into Na plus and Cl minus, or when Na plus and Cl minus is combining to form NaCl. Both are termed as lattice enthalpy. That is, when NaCl is breaking into the constituents, there it is an endothermic reaction. Then the value would be plus. When Na plus and Cl minus is combining, then the energy released, then energy will be released. As reverse process, the energy is released. That would be an exothermic reaction. So whether energy is absorbed or whether energy is released, both are enthalpy changes. This enthalpy change is called the lattice enthalpy. So one example of Hess's law, determination of lattice enthalpy, consider the formation of NaCl. So NaCl can be prepared in two different methods, just like I had explained about carbon dioxide. Here also we are taking another example of NaCl. Look at the first step, the general reaction. NaCl can be prepared from solid Na and chlorine in the gaseous state. And this direct formation of NaCl from solid Na and gaseous chlorine is called the delta H formation. This is called formation. Why? Because it is the enthalpy change of formation of 1 mole of NaCl. In the balanced equation you can find there is only 1 mole of NaCl. Okay, so this general reaction that I have read now can take place in 2 or more than 2 steps. And what are the different steps? That is what we are going to learn. So the first step is, in the first one, it is solid Na. So this is taking place in many steps. This can be considered to take place in many steps. So the first step is solid Na has to be converted to gaseous Na. and solid getting converted to gas is called the sublimation, and that process is called sublimation, and the energy required, the difference in energy is called the delta H sublimation energy, which is written as subscript. Second step is the gaseous Na has to be converted to Na plus. There ionization is taking place. The outermost one electron is removed, and that energy change is called the ionization enthalpy. So first step is sublimation enthalpy, because solid Na has to be converted to gaseous Na. Second step is the gaseous Na has to be converted to Na plus, and that energy change is termed as ionization enthalpy. So Na plus is formed, one ion is formed there. Again chlorine in the gaseous state. First step is chlorine Cl2, Cl-Cl bond is there, and the Cl-Cl bond has to be cleaved or broken to form Cl in the atomic state. So there the bond between Cl and Cl has to be cleaved, and that energy is called the bond dissociation enthalpy. Energy required to break the bonds is called the bond dissociation enthalpy. So you get here Cl. Okay, and the next is chlorine in the gaseous state. Chlorine in the gaseous state has to accept an electron, and that enthalpy change is called the electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. Remember here, Cl2 is getting converted to Cl. So here, before that, there should be half Cl2. Because the number of atoms here is 2, here is 1. So you have to write here half Cl2 is dissociating to form one chlorine atom. If you are not putting a half here, which is not shown here, children, when you are writing in your notebook, please put a half here. It becomes Cl here. And so this is the half into delta H bond dissociation enthalpy. If you are putting a half here, means half of the bond dissociation enthalpy of one Cl-Cl bond. So this is the third step, and the fourth step is chlorine in the gaseous state is accepting electron to form an anion Cl minus, and we all have learned in the classification of elements, periodic classification, that energy change is called the electron gain enthalpy, and that is why it's written here delta H electron gain enthalpy. So Na plus is formed, Cl minus is formed. These two oppositely charged ions will come together, will pact up together to form NaCl. And here the energy is liberated, and the energy liberated is called the lattice enthalpy. So this first equation, repeating it once again, this first equation can be considered to be formed by these many steps. That is delta H sublimation, delta plus delta H ionization, plus delta H bond dissociation enthalpy, plus delta H electron gain enthalpy, plus delta H lattice enthalpy would be equal to this delta H formation of NaCl. And this is the Hess law that we have stated earlier. So then according to Hess's law, delta H formation, this one, is equal to the sum of the intermediate enthalpies. And it is delta H sublimation plus delta H ionization plus delta H half into delta H bond dissociation enthalpy, that is why it's written here by 2, plus delta H electron gain enthalpy plus delta H lattice enthalpy. And from this, all the other values will be given in the question. Delta H formation value will be given, delta H sublimation, ionization, bond dissociation enthalpy will be given, electron gain enthalpy will be given, and from this we are asked to calculate the lattice enthalpy. So lattice enthalpy would be equal to, all these will come to the other side, delta H formation minus of all this. That will give you the lattice enthalpy of any ionic solid. You can take KCl, NaCl or any ionic solid. We can easily calculate the lattice enthalpy by the application of Hess's law. Next application of Hess's law is the determination of enthalpy of reaction from enthalpies of formation. We have learned the definition of enthalpy of formation earlier. And that is the example that I have given earlier is formation of carbon dioxide. C plus O2 gives CO2. So while doing problems based on determination of enthalpy of reaction from enthalpies of formation, we have to understand certain points. That is, the reference state of elements taken is the pure element in its most stable state of aggregation at 298 Kelvin and 1 bar pressure. That is, for example, if you are taking carbon, oxygen, sulfur, mercury, bromine and iodine in the standard state, carbon, the stable state is the graphite, carbon in the form of graphite. Oxygen is taken as O2 in the gaseous state. Sulfur, the rhombic form, that is S8. We all know the molecularity, it is S8. Bromine, Br2. Iodine, I2. So according to the conventions, the standard molar enthalpies of formation of free elements in their reference state is taken as 0. The enthalpies of formation of free elements is considered to be 0. So you have to keep this in mind while doing the problems based on standard enthalpy of formation. You can find here, this is a method, this is a formula for calculating the standard enthalpy of a reaction. That is, if we know the standard molar enthalpies of formation of various substances, we can calculate the standard enthalpy change of any reaction. That is, standard enthalpy change of any reactions can be calculated, which is equal to the difference of the standard molar enthalpies of formation of all the products and standard enthalpies of formations of all the reactants. Is given here delta H reaction. This is all what you have to understand. Delta H of any reaction can be calculated if the formation of the products and formation of the reactants is given in the question. It is equal to the delta H formation of products minus delta H formation of reactants. So once again, standard enthalpy of formation is equal to, if there are many products and many reactants, then that is equal to sum of the standard molar enthalpies of formation of products minus sum of the standard molar enthalpies of formation of reactants. And this is a very easy type of problems. You should simply know this formula, that delta H reaction is equal to delta H formation of products minus delta H formation of reactants. You need to write only this particular formula in your notebook. If the reaction, as I told you earlier, if the reaction involves more than one reactants and products, then delta H of a reaction is equal to sigma delta H formation of product. That is, what is the meaning of this one? Sum of the standard enthalpies of formations of all the products minus sum of the standard enthalpies of formations of the reactants. Next application is determination of enthalpy of reaction from the bond enthalpies. That is, another way for calculating the enthalpy of a reaction is if the bond enthalpy values are given in the question. For example, C single bond C values or HO bond value, depending upon the reaction given in the question, the bond energies of the reactants and products will be given. So from that, how to calculate the delta H of a reaction? It is the sum of the bond enthalpies of all the reactants minus sum of the bond enthalpies of all the products. So please write all these formulas to calculate the delta H of a reaction in your notebook. The first one was the products, formation of products and reactants will be given. Here, if the bond energies are given, then how to calculate the delta H of a reaction? We have to use this formula, and while doing problems, it will be clear to you, children. So there is a problem given here. This type of problem is very important. That is, here the question is calculate the standard enthalpy of formation of CH3OH. What is CH3OH? Methanol. From the following data. That is, this is another way to calculate the enthalpy of formation if many other reactions are given. we can easily calculate the enthalpy of, this is a simple algebra. Let us add the equations to get a net equation. You have to use your logic and find out the enthalpies of formation. So how can we do this? So the question, repeating it once again, it is to calculate the standard enthalpy of formation of CH3OH when the following data is given. The first equation given is CH3OH in the liquid state plus balanced equation 2 by 3 O2 gives carbon dioxide plus 2 H2O. The enthalpy of this reaction is given as minus 726 kilojoules per mole. This is one information or one equation given here. The second equation given here, carbon in the most stable state is graphite. So carbon plus O2 gives carbon dioxide. The enthalpy change is given for this reaction. It is again the formation of 1 mole of CO2 is given as minus 393 kilojoules per mole. Remember, the naught indicates that this reaction is in the standard state. Third equation given in the question is H2 plus half O2 gives H2. Here also it is the formation of 1 mole of water. So always the reactions given will be for 1 mole of this compound. And this third reaction, third enthalpy, standard enthalpy of this reaction is minus 286 kilojoules per mole. So it is from these three reactions, using the three reactions, that we have to calculate the enthalpy of formation of CH3OH. How can we do this? First of all, when such a question is given, you have to form the equation. So the major question is the formation of CH3OH from its elements. So CH3OH is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So you write C plus H2 plus O2 gives CH3OH, and then you have to balance this, and always remember the balancing should be for 1 mole of CH3, keeping in mind that the CH3OH is for 1 mole, and that is the enthalpy change that you have to find out, because enthalpy formation is always for 1 mole of that substance. So after balancing, it would be like 2H2, 2 cancelling, that is 3 plus 1 4, so 2 2s are 4H on this side, 4H on this side. Half O2 becomes 1 oxygen atom, and there is 1 carbon on this side, so 1 carbon on this side. So this is how you have to balance. Don't balance it the other way. Don't put more than 1 coefficients here. Hope that is clear to you. So this is the question asked here. You are asked to calculate the delta H2 of this one, not H2 actually. It is delta H. Please ignore the 2 written here. It is the delta H formation of CH3OH that you have to find out. Now how can we do it? Before starting, you can find here that in the major reaction, that is, you have to add, subtract or multiply by any number you like in order to get this equation. Simple algebra actually. So what all should you do to these 3 equations in order to get this equation? That is what you have to think first. And whatever change you are making in this equation, the same changes has to be done for the values also. So this is what you have to keep in mind before starting. Now here there is 1 graphite here, and that equation is given in second equation. In the reactant side there is a graphite, so we have to consider equation 2 first. Next, there is hydrogen and oxygen given here in the reactant side. So we have to take the third equation. Consider the third equation. But you can 2 plus 3 you need to do, or 2 minus 3 you need to do to get this equation, that you have to think. So here it is equation 2 you have to take, because in the final equation you have to get C graphite. So equation 2 you take, plus the third equation you have to multiply into 2. Why? Because in the major equation that you need, there is a 2H2 given here. So that the third equation, there is hydrogen. So in order to get a 2 here, you have to multiply this equation into 2. When you're multiplying, remember the whole reactant and products has to be multiplied, not just one coefficient. If you're multiplying the equation by any number, the whole reactants and products also should be multiplied. Otherwise the meaning will change. So it is 2 third equation into 2. That is what you have to do. And 2 equation 2 plus 2 into 3 minus subtract it from the first equation. When you're doing these, you will get this equation, that is carbon plus 2H2 plus half O2 giving this equation. So let us take the equations one by one. Second equation is C plus O2 gives CO2. That is what we have taken here. Okay. Next, 2 into 3. That is this equation into 2 we have to do. So it is 2H2 plus 2 into half means it is 3 by 2. Again here it becomes 2H2 because the whole equation has to be multiplied by 2. Okay. And then minus the first equation. First equation is as such you are taking, minus the first equation. So all these process when you are doing, you will get this equation. Write in your notebook and try getting it. Okay, the reactants, all when you're doing like this, all the reactants you will write it in one side, the products on the right hand side. After that, 2 plus 2 second equation plus 2 into the third equation minus the first equation, you will get this carbon plus half O2 plus 2O2 gives CH3OH. And same thing has to be done for the enthalpy changes also. That is, enthalpy change of this one, delta HA would be equal to delta H2, where is delta H2? This is what we have taken, C plus O2, plus 2 into delta. When you're multiplying into 2 for this one, the delta H also has to be multiplied, because when there is 2 here means it is a formation of 2 moles of water. So this also will change. So it would be 2 into minus 286 that you have to do. That is why it is written here 2 into the third equation minus the first equation's value will be. So you are first doing the equations. The same thing has to be done for the enthalpy changes also, and then it is minus 393. The second one is minus 393 plus 2 into minus 286. That is what we have written here. Minus of minus 726. Put the values as such there. So calculating all this, the delta H of this one, that is C plus 2H2 plus half O2, the formation of CH3OH, you get the value as minus 239 kilojoules per mole. So these are the problems that comes under types of enthalpies. That is, and delta H of a different ways for calculating the delta H of a reaction. And there are 3 important ways that I've discussed in this video. Please go through this and write it in your notebook. Thank you, children.